Okay, hello, my name is Megan Carswell, and for my nonprofit organization, I am doing the Season of Justice. So a little history about the Season of Justice is became an official nonprofit in 2001. They were founded in the summer 2020, but officially 2021. And their whole thing is that they aid cold cases and provide funding for DNA testing and advertisements of cold cases, asking for tips or if anybody knows anything, and anything that they can do to help solve cold cases is basically what they are advocating and raising money for. They've assisted with 61 cold cases within their short period of existence and donated over $400,000 worth of funding to different police departments and families. So that's something that's really interesting about them, is that they help police departments if they need it, or they help families if they need it. So they advocate for a lot of different people within people who deal with crime. So kind of the problem overview of the Season of Justice is I kind of broke it down into these three categories, and you'll kind of see that later. I'll explain that in a couple of slides. But the presence online, how can SOJ, Season of Justice, engage stakeholders online across different platforms? Since they're such a new organization, they need new ways of engaging, getting donors, getting people to they don't really need, I guess, volunteers as much, but just somebody that can advocate for their organization and advocate for these people who maybe don't have a name or whose cases are unsolved. Also, going in with growth, since they're such a young organization, where can SOJ advertise to reach more potential police departments that don't know about their organization that could use that funding, or families of victims who their cases, there's a lightning storm around me, but families of victims who don't have the assistance in the cases for their family members that they need, where this could, their organization could provide some money to help towards that. And then also action with Season of Justice, spreading awareness for missing persons cases or cold cases or John Does or Jane Does that maybe don't have a name, and working towards, finding and ending these cold cases and giving people back their names, or making sure that these people are laid to rest and that there's conviction and justice along with these cases. So that's kind of how I broke it into three parts. So that kind of goes into my applied theory. So I did the tiers of engagement theory, which is Johnson and Taylor's kind of determined as a low-level manifestation, mid-level understanding and connecting, and at the highest level, action and impact. And so that's where I kind of separated those three, where it's, social media engagement, but then also awareness, but then also high-level impact for the great work that Season of Justice is doing. So, with my organization, the things that Johnson and Taylor had on their list that I think kind of resonated with Season of Justice, that I think that I would apply, would be social media engagement and page views, with people who are interested in the organization. Medium level would be relationship quality and giving a voice, and helping those police departments and those families of victims. And then the high level is obviously social awareness and indicators of action. What is Season of Justice doing to, share this awareness for people that need advocates? And so one of my key individuals would be Ashley Flowers, who is the founder of Season of Justice. Now, Ashley Flowers has a very popular following, and that's why this organization does have a lot of followers right off the bat, because she hosts the #1 crime podcast on Apple Music and Spotify, Crime Junkies. I've been a big fan of it for a long time. It's a great podcast if you like true crime, but that's where she has kind of come into place, and she advocates a lot for that on her personal platforms, as well as on her podcast and other podcasts that she hosts. So she's one of our key individuals in this, when kind of looking at how Season of Justice interacts. So then kind of going into our organization's solutions, I looked at all of their different kind of platforms. It seems like their most engagement that they kind of post and comment on is their Instagram, and which isn't surprising because Crime Junkies, Ashley Flowers podcast has a lot of engagements through Instagram. So I think they're kind of just piggybacking off that. But their different social media platforms are great examples of low and medium engagement, sharing their interacting with other people, trying to get the word about their organization, but they aren't sharing much high impact engagement is what I have noticed on their platforms. So they have a clear message and they're engaging, but the thing that they've done wrong is they're not sharing the importance in the work that they've done as an organization, with multiple cases so far in just a short amount of time. So I think that's the thing that they've kind of faltered on. Here's a picture, kind of their other accounts. Their Twitter, they haven't posted on since October or November of last year. So they could really bump up their Twitter of engagement on those low and medium levels. And their Facebook, they actually do share on there, but it's a lot of sharing of like this top post that you can kind of see in the photo is a Box station who had shared a story about how they were helping advocate for a case. So they do have engagement on there, but they could really bump it up on their other social medias. So my moral of the story is kind of this. Season of Justice has a good social media platform, especially for being a newer nonprofit organization, but there is definitely room for growth. And I think using Johnson and Taylor's theory, they could really use that to bump up their higher engagement because they have good examples of low and medium, especially on their Instagram. Now, could they bump those up on their other platforms? Absolutely. But just sharing what they've done. I mean, in less than a year, $425,000 in funding and assisting with 61 cold cases. I mean, that's 61 families of, victims who may have not known the answer to what happened to their loved one, but there's not really much sharing of that. And I wish that there was. So just, doing those hard hitting actions that aren't being expressed on their platforms right now. And then one thing that I think I would take from this kind of look at their social media and put it into either a future career or if I was to be running a nonprofit would be keeping the message in mind when you're sharing on different levels of social media and like every action that you do. So whether that is that low level, just engaging with other people and stakeholders, but also trying to find families and police departments on that medium level, and then also expressing and sharing your overall plan for what you're doing as your nonprofit, just keeping your message in mind every step of the way and expressing that to your stakeholders and your donors so they know that you are always constantly working for the people that you are advocating for. And those are those people that they've already passed away and their families can only do so much and their police departments can only do so much. So with our funding, they can either get their names back or, get the justice that they deserve. So that's what I was thinking about the whole time going through this process, was keeping our message and our mission in mind. So that's kind of my organization. Again, that's Season of Justice. And so I'm Megan Carswell. Thank you.